Hello everyone. If you like this audiobook and want to listen to more, please consider subscribing. And if you like this video, like it as well, that it enjoy.
Chapter 181, Sansa's Story. As they started watching the first movie of The Lord of the Rings, Boromir appeared on the screen. Sansa froze. Her hands flew to her mouth. She began crying, her body trembling in Jacob's arms. "That's not your father," Jacob explained gently. "That's just an actor, or what you call in your world a mummer. His name is Sean Bean. In my world, he plays characters in movies and shows. A movie is what's playing now on TV, it's a story recorded with a special device called a camera. I'll show it to you later. It's like a mummer's show, but recorded." He paused. "There are many worlds, like yours and mine. You could probably find someone who looks exactly like you or people you know in other worlds. Sean Bean just happens to look and sound like your father. He has nothing to do with him." Sansa nodded, wiping her eyes, but she couldn't stop staring at Boromir. Younger than her father had been, but the same face, the same voice, the same sadness in the eyes. Then Boromir died, pierced by arrows, trying to protect the hobbits, and Sansa broke down completely. Not quiet tears this time. Real, heaving sobs. Arya cried too, though she tried to hide it by pretending to rub her eyes. Jacob just held Sansa tighter and said nothing. When the movie ended, the room fell quiet except for the soft hum of the television and Sansa's occasional sniffles. Jacob looked down at her. His expression was soft, but his eyes were serious. "I hate to do this to you right after you cried," he said, "but can you tell me what happened to you in King's Landing?" Arya sat up on the couch. Her face was serious. "I want to hear it too." Sansa looked between them. Jacob's arm was still around her, warm and solid. Arya was watching her with an intensity that said she was ready to kill anyone who had ever wronged her sister. She took a deep breath. "I was so naive back then. So stupid. Unlike Arya, I was the good girl, the proper lady. I did everything I could to be what my mother wanted me to be." Sansa's voice was soft, distant, as if she were speaking about someone else. "When we left Winterfell, I was so happy. I was going to marry a prince. I was going to be a queen. I thought King's Landing would be like the songs. I thought Joffrey was the true knight I'd always dreamed of." She laughed bitterly, "But he was just a demon who turned my dream into a nightmare." She paused, collecting herself. "I didn't see what he really was, not at first. Even after he had my wolf, lady, killed, even then, part of me still wanted to believe there was good in him. I wanted to be his queen. I even lied and let my own sister down so I wouldn't ruin my engagement to him." She looked at Arya. "Sorry about that, by the way." Arya sighed. "It's all right," Sansa continued. "Not long after we arrived at King's Landing, the nightmare started with my father's arrest. Traitor's daughter, that's what they called me. Cersei tried to manipulate me into believing father was a traitor and that the only hope for his survival was for me to write a letter to Robb telling him to swear fealty to Joffrey. Naive and stupid as I was, I never believed her. I knew father was no traitor, he was an honorable man. But to save him, I wrote the letter. I believed Robb would never fall for such an obvious lie." Her voice trembled. "The day of the execution, the Lannisters made me stand on that platform with them against my will and made it look like I was there by choice. Cersei convinced me that if I publicly begged for mercy and father confessed to his alleged false crimes, Joffrey would be merciful and let him live." She swallowed hard. "I had an agreement with Cersei and Varys. I don't think they lied about that agreement, but they didn't account for Joffrey's recklessness and stupidity. Or Littlefinger's manipulation, as we learned today. The agreement was for father to be sent to the Night's Watch, not executed. But Joffrey suddenly ordered the execution. I screamed. I fought to reach father, but I was held back by the Kingsguard. That was the moment my naive world officially ended. After they killed father, Joffrey made me walk out onto the bridge and look at his head on a spike. He told me he'd give me Robb's head next. Every day after that was a trial. If Joffrey was bored, he had his Kingsguard beat me. A knight named Meryn Trant would strike me in the face or stomach with his sword while the whole court watched. They stripped me in the throne room, in front of everyone. Just to shame me." Arya's voice was cold. "Meryn Trant, he's on my list." Sansa touched her cheek absently, as if she could still feel the sting. "I was alone in a city full of enemies, and the boy I thought loved me made sure I knew I was nothing." Jacob's arm tightened around her. His jaw was tight, his eyes flickered red for just a moment before he controlled himself. "Too bad that little shit Joffrey is dead, or I'd make him beg for a merciful, quick death. But Meryn Trant will get what he deserves for beating and humiliating you," he said. "Did anyone else hurt you?" he asked. "I want names." Sansa's voice grew steadier. "Cersei. She was worse than Joffrey in some ways. She never hit me, not with her hands. But her words," she shuddered. "She would smile at me while telling me how my mother was probably dead. How my brothers were probably dead. How I was a fool for ever believing in love or honor. She made me undress in front of her while she inspected me. She made sure I knew I was a hostage, not a guest. That my only value was as a womb to carry Lannister children. She paused. Tyrion was kind to me. He never hurt me. He never even looked at me the way other men did. He was the only Lannister who treated me with basic human decency. He intervened to stop Joffrey's public beatings, and after our forced marriage, he never laid a hand on me. Sansa looked at her sister. Do you remember what I was like before? All the songs and the stories and the silly dreams about handsome princes. Arya nodded slowly. Sansa smiled. A small, sad smile. I hated you for calling me stupid. For saying I was blind. But you were right, I was stupid, I was blind, and I paid for it. Arya's voice was softer now. Well, you were just a little girl back then. But don't worry, sister. She nodded toward Jacob. I think you finally found your handsome prince. And I think this one is a good one. Sansa turned back to Jacob with a smile. I think so too. Jacob kissed her forehead. Sansa sighed and continued her story. When Joffrey decided to marry Margaery Tyrell instead of me, I was so happy. I thought I was free. I thought he would send me back to Winterfell, or at least let me live quietly somewhere away from him. I remember I couldn't control myself. A laugh escaped my mouth. I had to quickly hide my happiness. Her voice hardened, but Littlefinger didn't let me enjoy that happiness, not even for a moment. He appeared before me. He told me Joffrey would never let me go, even after he married Margaery. That he would keep me in King's Landing forever, as a plaything. That he would still visit my bed and abuse me whenever he wanted, still have his guards beat me, or marry me off to someone cruel. She swallowed, and I believed him, because I already knew Joffrey was a monster. Why wouldn't he do that? She paused. I naively thought Littlefinger was a friend. So when he offered to take me away, I went. I had no one else, no family, no allies. Just a man who said he loved my mother and wanted to protect me. Her voice dropped, but it turned out he was the worst of them all. Jacob asked, anyone else? Margaery was kind to me, Sansa said with a bittersweet shrug. She gave me cakes and spoke of sisterhood. I know she was just trying to use me, to get me to marry her brother so the Tyrells could control the north, but it was still nice to have a friend, even a fake one. Myrcella and Tommen never actually hurt me. She thought for a moment. Myrcella and Tommen were just children, they were the only ones in that city who smiled at me and meant it. They didn't inherit any of Joffrey and Cersei's cruelty. Myrcella was a sweet, gentle girl, and Tommen reminded me of my brother Bran. She paused again, and there was the Hound. Sandor Clegane. He was a monster to everyone else, and to be honest, he creeped me out too. But he was the only one who told me the truth. He frequently insulted me, called me a little bird, who only sang what she was told, but I think he did it to toughen me up so I could survive. He saved me from being raped and probably killed by a mob during a riot in King's Landing. He cut through the attackers and carried me back to safety. And during the Battle of the Blackwater, he came to my room, drunk and terrified of the fire, and offered to take me to Winterfell. But I was too scared of him to go. She exhaled. That was my life there. Until I escaped in Joffrey's wedding chaos with Littlefinger's help. She fell silent. Jacob pulled her closer. You're safe now. Sansa pressed her face into his chest. I know. Arya stood from the couch. She walked to the recliner and, without asking, squeezed in next to Sansa. I'm sorry, Arya said quietly. I hated you from the day I saw you standing with the Lannisters when they killed father. I'm sorry for thinking you betrayed our family and chose them over us. Sansa wrapped an arm around her sister. I'm sorry too, for not defending you when you needed me, for lying to King Robert, for being mean when we were kids, for calling you Horseface. Arya snorted. You called me Horseface because you thought it hurt my feelings. It didn't. I always knew I was prettier than you. Sansa laughed. A real laugh. You are not. Too. Or not. Jacob watched them bicker, a small smile on his face. Then he looked at the TV, then back at the sisters. So, he said, should we watch the second Lord of the Rings movie, The Two Towers? Or do something else? Sansa looked at Arya. Arya looked at Sansa. Let's watch the movie, Arya said. Sansa nodded. Yes, I want to see how the story ends. You said there are 3 movies. Let's watch them all. Jacob grinned. All right. Then he glared at Arya. Arya, go back to the couch. I want to snuggle with Sansa. Arya hugged Sansa tighter. You go to the couch. I want to hug my sister. I haven't seen her in years. Sansa smiled. How about we all stay like this? Jacob snorted. Arya smirked. And the 3 of them settled in, pressed close together, and started watching the next movie. Chapter 182, The Truth About the Trees. Jacob, Sansa, and Arya didn't sleep until they had finished all 3 Lord of the Rings movies. Arya went to her room, and Jacob took Sansa with him to his own room. Seeing Sansa's panicked expression, Jacob smiled and said, Relax. I just want to sleep next to you. I'm in no hurry to consummate our marriage. I'll wait until you're ready. Sansa let out a small breath. Thank you. Jacob pulled back the covers. All right, let's go to sleep. They lay down, and Jacob turned off the light. He hugged her close, and she rested her head on his chest. After a while, she asked, "Can you tell me about your family?" Jacob ran his fingers through her hair. I don't have any brothers or sisters, and I don't know where my parents are. I thought they were dead, since I was 8, until 2 months ago, when I found out they're actually alive and had to fake their death for some reason. He smiled softly. I'm really looking forward to meeting them again. Sansa asked, and your wives? Can you tell me about them? Jacob nodded. There are 4 of them, Allison, Lydia, Malia, and Melissa. Except for Melissa, who's a bit older, the others are the same age as you and me. They're all nice, you're going to love them. He smiled. Allison is my first woman. She's the good girl in our family. She was raised to become a hunter, but she never did because she met me. Sansa frowned. When you say hunter, what do you mean? Jacob explained, her family hunts supernatural creatures. She was taught how to fight and use weapons from the time she was a child. Sansa's eyes widened. What are supernatural creatures? People like me, who have powers to turn into animals, use fire to attack, and so on. He paused. Her family tried to break us up because of what I am, but we're all good now. Her family is my family now. Sansa asked, what about your other wives? Jacob continued, Lydia is the smartest of us all. She has red hair like you, and she's a spoiled, mean, narcissistic girl who loves buying new clothes and watching romantic movies and shows. I think you and her will get along well, because both of you like romantic stories. He smiled at the memory. Then there's Malia. She's a tomboy, just like Arya. She's rude and always says what she thinks. She doesn't know how to lie. And she loves to fight and kill. She has a tragic story of her own, but you'll have to ask her about it yourself. Sansa asked, and Melissa? Jacob's expression softened. She's the sweetest. She's a gentle woman, unless someone threatens me, my other wives, or her son. Sansa sat up slightly. Her son? Do you have a son? Jacob chuckled. He's not mine. Actually, he's my age, and he's my friend. At first, I was just teasing him about marrying his mother, but then I met her, and I liked her. So I ended up marrying her. Sansa lay back down. Is that all your family? Jacob shook his head. There's still another friend and his father, Lydia's mother, and like I said before, Allison's parents. And a crazy psychopathic butler. And also a talking cat and a dragon. Sansa stared at him wide-eyed. A talking cat, and a dragon. Jacob nodded. Yes, the cat's name is Kitty. She's just like Arya and Malia, she likes to fight too. And by the way, she's very strong. As for the dragon, her name is Saphira, and she's a real dragon, not like the dragons from your world. Sansa frowned. What do you mean by a real dragon? Aren't the Targaryen dragons real? Jacob explained, the dragons from your world, the ones the Targaryens own, are a type of dragon, but in my world, we call them wyverns. What we call dragons have 4 legs and 2 wings, instead of 2 legs and arms fused with wings. And they're much stronger. Anyway, I'll show you tomorrow what a real dragon looks like. Sansa asked, are you going to call your dragon, Saphira? Jacob shook his head. No, the dragon you're going to see tomorrow isn't Saphira. Sansa's voice wavered. I'll be safe, right? I heard dragons are violent. Other than their riders, they kill anyone who gets close to them. You'll be totally safe, he smirked. Actually, you can ride the dragon you're going to see tomorrow in more ways than you think. He can even ride you too. Sansa raised an eyebrow. Ride me, is it small? Jacob laughed. He's not small. You'll understand tomorrow. Sansa pouted. Why are you laughing? Jacob kept laughing, hugged her close, and said, good night. He closed his eyes and soon drifted to sleep. Sansa sighed, and sleep took her too. The next morning, Jacob woke up first and found Sansa deep asleep with a peaceful smile on her face. He quietly left the bed and went outside the capsule house. The 3 lizard lions were still fast asleep not far away. Brienne and Podrick sat on rocks nearby. Jacob walked to them. Brienne and Podrick started to stand, but he waved a hand. You don't need to stand. Just relax. Brienne smiled. Morning, Your Grace. Jacob nodded. Morning. He took out the cookpot of perfect meal, the reward he'd received yesterday, and filled it with skyr buffalo meat, onions, carrots, and potatoes from his pocket dimension. He added seasonings and water, pressed a button to start the pot, and let it cook. When he finished, he noticed Brienne and Podrick staring at him. Do you want to ask something? Brienne looked at the hoodie and sweatpants Jacob was wearing, and the cute puppy slippers on his feet. I've never seen clothes like the ones you're wearing. Jacob shrugged. Where I'm from, everyone wears clothes like these. Brienne's expression turned serious. She met Jacob's eyes. Your Grace, are you really a sorcerer, like Littlefinger said. Jacob sat down on a chair he pulled from his pocket dimension. What if I am? Brienne's voice was steady. Then I hope you're a good one. I'm not going to lie, I hate sorcerers and witches. They killed someone I cared about. But I will not betray Lady Sansa or your family, your grace. I just really hope you're not an evil sorcerer, because I will not participate in any dark magic. I would die before I did that. Jacob smiled. I'm not a sorcerer, and I hate witches and wizards too, especially dark ones, like the followers of that demon R'hllor. So you don't have to worry. My family and I will kill any dark wizard or witch on sight. Brienne nodded, visibly relieved. That's good to hear. Then she asked, by the way, your grace, we found a lot of weapons and blood in front of the north gate. Did a battle happen here? Jacob nodded. Yeah, 200 Bolton men came here 2 days ago. Arya and I killed them. My 3 pets helped too. Brienne and Podrick stared in shock. Jacob smiled. Now, tell me your story, Brienne. Brienne told him about serving Renly Baratheon and witnessing his murder by a shadow that looked like his brother Stannis. Then her service to Catelyn Stark and her oath to find her daughters. She told him about Jaime Lannister saving her from both Bolton men in a bear pit before she began her failed quest to locate Arya and Sansa. She explained how she lost Arya after defeating the Hound, how Sansa had rejected her a few days ago, and how she had been hunted by several Knights of the Vale, but had managed to kill them. She had followed Sansa from a distance, intending to rescue her from Littlefinger. That was why she had been watching Sansa from afar yesterday when Jacob appeared. Just as Brienne finished her story, Sansa and Arya walked out of the house toward them. Arya looked at the pot. What's cooking? It smells delicious. Jacob said, beef stew. It's almost done. He looked at Sansa. Good morning, beautiful. Sansa smiled. Good morning. She hesitated for a moment, then kissed his cheek, and blushed while doing it. Brienne watched Sansa with a soft smile. Arya ignored everything, squatted next to the pot, crossed her arms over her knees, rested her head on her arms, and waited for the food to be ready. Podrick panicked. He lowered his head and didn't dare look at Sansa, remembering what had happened to Littlefinger yesterday. Jacob smiled, took another chair from his pocket dimension, and placed it next to him. Sit. Sansa sat down. Why didn't you wake me? Jacob caught her hand. You seemed peaceful. You were actually smiling. I didn't want to wake you. Sansa smiled. Thank you. Jacob said, you seem like you had a good dream. Care to tell me what it was about? Sansa panicked. No, I didn't have any dream. Jacob smirked. It was about me, wasn't it? You don't need to be ashamed. I totally understand. With how handsome I am, it's natural for you to dream about me. They call me Prince Charming. No woman can resist my charm. Arya rolled her eyes. Here we go again. I told you, you're not as charming as you think you are. I don't find you charming, and Brienne doesn't find you charming either. She looked at Brienne. Right. Brienne smiled and looked at Jacob. His grace is definitely a handsome man, but he's not my type. Arya smirked at Jacob. See, Brienne doesn't find you charming either. Only a lovesick fool like Sansa would fall for you. Jacob shrugged. You don't find me charming because you're a stupid kid who looks more like a boy than a girl. He looked at Brienne. As for you, Brienne, you dress like a man and have short hair. Maybe you don't even like men. Brienne said, I do like men. She sighed. Unfortunately, the only 2 men I've been interested in don't seem to like me. The first liked men, and the second loves his sister. Sansa's eyes widened. You like Jaime Lannister? Brienne nodded. Yes, my lady, but worry not, me liking him doesn't mean I will let him lay a finger on you. I will kill him with my own hands if he tries to harm you. Sansa said, well, you'd better move on. That guy only has his sister in his eyes. She's got him wrapped around her little finger. Brienne sighed and said nothing. Just then, the pot rang, announcing that the food was ready. Jacob took a ladle and 4 bowls from his pocket dimension, filled them, and handed them out with bread. Everyone ate happily. Jacob said, this is delicious. Arya, Sansa, and Brienne nodded and didn't even stop to comment, they kept eating. Podrick was crying while he ate. Sansa ate 2 bowls and was full. Podrick ate 3. Arya and Brienne ate 4 each. Jacob ate the rest, shocking everyone with how much he consumed. After they ate, Jacob stored the pot back in his pocket dimension. Arya said, we already found Sansa. So what's next? Jacob thought for a moment. We'll stay here for a day or 2. Then we'll head to Castle Black to get your brother Jon and conquer the Free Folk. On our way there, we'll pass by Last Hearth, the ancestral home of House Umber. I heard your little brother Rickon is hiding there. Both Sansa and Arya were stunned. Sansa's voice trembled. That can't be true. Theon killed him and Bran. Jacob shook his head. No, he didn't. They both managed to escape. So, to avoid looking weak in front of his men, Theon killed some farm boys instead, burned them, and hung them on the walls. Both your brothers are alive, for now. And I heard Bran is north of the wall. Arya and Sansa were overjoyed. Arya looked at Jacob. By the way, how do you know all this? You said you're not from our world. But how did you know about Bran and Rickon? How did you know about Sansa? And how did you know about Littlefinger and everything else? Jacob said, let's just say that when I arrive in a new world, I learn about its past, not everything, but the most important things. And actually, there are other people who can learn the past and spy on everyone in Westeros. They call them the Greenseers. Then Jacob asked, do you know those trees people worship? The heart trees. Everyone nodded. Jacob continued, you call them gods, but they aren't gods. Those trees are just recorders. Biological archives. Sansa frowned. The old gods watch through the trees, Jacob. My father always said. There is only one God, Sansa. Jacob interrupted. The Creator, who created everything and wasn't born or created. Your father was told a story to make sense of something he couldn't understand. Those trees are a network. They record every word whispered, every drop of blood spilled, every secret kept in their shadow. Those trees are just creatures, very old creatures that remember everything. Arya narrowed her eyes. Then who is watching the biological archives recorded by the trees? Greenseers. Yes, Jacob said with a look of pure disgust. Creepy voyeurs, people like the three-eyed raven, an old, shriveled pervert named Brynden Rivers. They're not divine, they're just creepy men sitting in the dark, plugging themselves into the weirwoods so they can spy on the world. They watch you dress, they watch you cry, they watch you sleep, they watch you laugh, they watch you die, all while you pray to them for help they'll never give, and cannot give. Everyone was shocked. Arya asked, who is this Brynden Rivers? Jacob explained, according to my knowledge, Brynden Rivers was a Targaryen bastard who spent his life as a kinslayer and a spymaster. He was so obsessed with power and control that when his body finally started to rot, he crawled into the roots of a tree to keep his 1,000 eyes in one open. He was a man who executed his own family, a criminal sent to the wall in chains before he vanished into the north to become the three-eyed raven. Now he's nothing more than a creepy old man in the dark, recording your lives because he can't let go of the world he was kicked out of. Sansa's face was pale. Her voice was a whisper of pure revulsion. A Targaryen, my grandfather and uncle were burned alive by the Mad King. And you're telling me that while I knelt to those trees, begging for my family's safety, I was actually performing for the amusement of a Targaryen bastard? Arya didn't look sad, she looked dangerous. I just added him to my list. Brienne looked deeply unsettled. A knight's oath is sworn before the old gods so that the heavens may judge him, she said, her voice trembling with rare anger. To think that those gods were just stories and that what was watching through those trees was just a disgraced prisoner of the Night's Watch, it makes a mockery of everything. There is no honor in a man who hides in the roots to steal secrets he has no right to hold. Jacob nodded. It's a violation. You were worshipping a surveillance system for a man who lost his humanity centuries ago. But don't worry, I will deal with that creepy bastard. And no one should kneel to those trees. I'll burn them until there's nothing left but ash. We don't need a peeping Tom watching our lives through trees. Arya asked, are you a Greenseer too? Jacob shook his head. No, but one of my wives can probably connect to all plants better than any Greenseer could. Sansa asked, which one of them? Jacob said, Melissa. She can control plants and make them attack people. She can even turn trees into humanoid monsters, like the rock puppets I used to scare the Vale Knights yesterday. Arya asked, is she a witch? Jacob shook his head. No, she's like me, a creature with supernatural abilities. He stood up. Now, Sansa, come with me. As for you, Arya, stay here with Brienne and Podrick until we come back. Arya frowned. Where are you two going? Jacob smirked. None of your business. He hugged Sansa and disappeared, leaving Arya pouting. Arya looked at Brienne and Podrick with an evil smirk. Which one of you wants to spar? Brienne shook her head. Not me. You're too strong for me, my lady. Podrick hid behind Brienne. I don't know how to wield a sword, my lady. I'm still learning. Arya snorted. Boring. She went off to train alone. Chapter 183, Gifts of Power. Jacob teleported with Sansa far away from Moat Cailin, landing atop a grassy mountain. Sansa looked around, brushing a strand of red hair from her face. What are we doing here? Are you going to call your dragon? Jacob shook his head. Not yet. First, I want to ask you again, are you willing to marry me? Are you willing to spend the rest of your life with me? Sansa met his eyes without hesitation. Yes. Jacob raised his right hand. A red tattoo appeared in the center of his palm, a circle with a dragon's head at its heart. Then drop your blood here. Sansa studied the glowing symbol. What for? Jacob explained, so you will become my wife. You'll understand after you do it. Sansa nodded. Okay, but I need something to prick my finger. Jacob took her hand. With his claw, which made her eyes widen, he made a small cut on her finger. You'll understand why I have claws later. Now, drip your blood on the tattoo. She let her blood fall onto the symbol. The tattoo glowed with a bright, vivid light, then slowly faded until it vanished entirely. Both of them closed their eyes as the magical contract sealed their bond. In Jacob's mind, a screen materialized. Contract successful. Congratulations, host. You are now married to Sansa Stark. The two of you are bound for life. You cannot betray one another, and her mind is protected from being read by any other creature. You can communicate with her telepathically, and you will sense when she is in danger. Jacob opened his eyes and looked at Sansa, who was still processing the connection with her eyes shut. I wonder what kind of bloodline Sansa will get when we sleep together, he mused. Soon, Sansa opened her eyes, a look of wonder on her face. Do you understand what that tattoo was now? Jacob asked. Yes, Sansa said, a small smile playing on her lips. It's amazing. Jacob smiled. So you understand now that I will never hurt you or abandon you? Sansa nodded. Yes, we cannot betray or harm one another. Then she felt the other connections. But I seem to feel 4 connections other than you. Jacob explained, those are my other wives. They can feel you too, but you can't communicate with them yet. They're in another world, and I still need to build a travel room in Sarandel, our home, so we can talk to each other even if we're in different worlds. He sighed, and since they can feel that I added a new girl to our family, I need to find them some gifts before I return home. Sansa's voice was tentative. Will they hate me, or be angry at me? Jacob shook his head. No, not at you. They'll blame me, but they know and have accepted what I am. So they'll just act angry at me to get me to coax them, take them on dates, and do things they like. Sansa sighed in relief. By the way, I learned some ability that lets me talk to you telepathically, but I don't know what that means exactly. Jacob smirked and spoke directly into her mind. Oh, it's like this. You can talk to me and my other wives directly inside our heads without using your mouth, no matter how far apart we are. Try it, just focus on the connection between us and send your thoughts to me. Sansa focused and managed to reach him. Like this, can you hear me? Jacob responded aloud, yes, I can hear you. We can even share memories. He smirked and sent her a memory, himself looking at his naked reflection in a mirror. Sansa stood frozen as the memory played in her mind. Her eyes snapped open. Ah, pervert, stop showing me that. Jacob laughed. I was just demonstrating the ability. Sansa, still blushing, avoided his eyes. Couldn't you have shown me something else? Jacob shrugged. That's the most beautiful memory I could think of. You're welcome. Sansa crossed her arms. You are shameless. And why were you looking at your naked self in a mirror anyway? Jacob grinned. I was admiring myself and making my reflection jealous of how good-looking I am. Sansa's mouth dropped open. After a moment of stunned silence, she shook her head. I don't know what to say anymore. Jacob laughed and pulled a space ring from his pocket dimension. He slid it onto her ring finger. Drop your blood on it. Sansa admired the white gold ring, a dragon's head with 2 blood-red diamonds for its eyes. She squeezed her still-bleeding finger and let a drop fall onto the ring. Her eyes widened as she felt the connection, understanding what the ring was. She immediately picked up a rock from the ground, stored it in the ring, and retrieved it several times, a happy smile on her face. Then she threw the rock away and looked at Jacob. Thank you. Jacob smirked. A simple, thank you, isn't sincere enough. Sansa hesitated, then stepped closer. She intended to kiss his cheek, but Jacob caught her waist and kissed her on the lips. She was surprised but returned the kiss, and he didn't let her go until she was breathless. Jacob rested his forehead against hers and smiled. That's more like it. He kissed her again, a quick peck this time, and released her waist. Sansa looked away, embarrassed, unable to meet his eyes. Jacob pulled out the Hulk serum vial. Here, drink this. It will grant you immense physical strength, far stronger than Arya right now. You'll even be stronger than a Targaryen dragon. Normal swords, daggers, and arrows won't penetrate your skin, unless someone uses Valyrian steel. You'll gain super healing, never get sick again, and deep wounds or broken bones will heal within seconds. And you'll become very fast when running. Sansa took the vial, which was filled with a vibrant, translucent green liquid. Jacob gestured to the grass. Sit first. It will hurt a little, but nothing unbearable. Sansa nodded, sat on the soft grass, and looked up at him. Thank you. She opened the vial and drank. Almost immediately, her skin flushed deep red, and her veins became prominent beneath the surface. She grimaced as waves of intense heat and mild pain washed through her, but nothing she couldn't bear. Jacob watched her for a moment, ensuring she was stable, then lay down on the grass beside her, closed his eyes, and waited. 45 minutes later, Sansa opened her eyes excitedly. Jacob opened his eyes. How are you feeling? Sansa beamed. I feel great. She looked at Jacob lying beside her and wanted to kiss him, but in her excitement and with her new strength, she leaned in too fast and headbutted him hard in the face. She raised her head, screaming. Ah, that hurt. Jacob rubbed his sore nose. I should be the one screaming. Sansa rubbed her forehead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. Jacob pulled her down and gave her a deep kiss. Then he released her lips and smirked. Now, it's time to help you control your new strength. Sansa's eyes widened. Two don't like that smile of yours. How are you going to help me? Jacob said, by sparring with you. And I will not go easy on you. So use all your strength and try not to get beaten too badly. Sansa protested. Can we not do that? I don't know how to fight. Jacob smiled. You will learn. He pushed her off him, sending her flying several meters through the air. She screamed in panic. When she landed, Jacob ran over and kicked her in the backside, sending her tumbling forward and crashing hard into the ground. She rolled several meters before stopping. She stood up, groaning, but realized she wasn't hurt at all. Still, she pouted. Can you be more gentle? Jacob smirked. Nope, now fight back. He attacked again. She awkwardly put her hands up to defend herself and even closed her eyes. Jacob shook his head but didn't stop. He punched her, sending her flying and crashing to the ground again. Get up, he commanded. You need to learn how to fight. There is no weak woman in my family. Stop closing your eyes and fight back. Think of your enemies. Joffrey, Cersei. You need to become strong so no one can abuse you or humiliate you again. Sansa got up. This time, she attacked. She punched awkwardly, but her strength was no joke. Jacob blocked her attacks with ease. That's it. Use your legs too. Try everything to land a hit on my handsome face. Sansa snorted and kept attacking. As she fought, she began to enjoy the rush, the adrenaline. Every time Jacob sent her crashing to the ground, she stood up grinning and attacked again. They sparred for 2 hours before Sansa finally lay on the ground, exhausted, but with a happy smile on her face. After catching her breath, she sat up and looked around at the deep craters she and Jacob had made while fighting. Then she looked at him and said sincerely, "Thank you, husband, for making me strong." Jacob smiled. "You're welcome." He pulled out a small table and 2 chairs from his pocket dimension, then covered the table with food, roasted meats, fresh bread, fruits, cheeses, and bottles of cold water. "Come, let's eat. There's still more I want to give you." They ate together, and afterward, Jacob handed her a vial of white honey potion. She drank it and gained immunity to all poisons. Then he gave her scrolls, Faraga, Lightning Beast, Quench Shield, Cleaning Spell, and Repair Spell. She learned them all, practicing each with an excited, happy smile. After that, Jacob gave her a concealment charm bracelet and a cup of Fountain of Youth water. She drank it happily after learning its effect. Then Jacob reached into his pocket dimension and retrieved a beautiful feather. It glowed with an inner, warm light, as if crafted from gentle flame. He handed it to her. This is a phoenix feather, also called a phoenix down. It can restore a dying person to full health. Most importantly, it can cure injuries inflicted by dark magic or curses and can be used as a potent weapon against dark creatures. Keep it safe in your ring. To activate it, simply will it, and it will dissolve into healing flame. Sansa thanked him and carefully stored the luminous feather inside her space ring. Next, Jacob produced a large, futuristic-looking energy weapon. This is a Spartan laser. He handed it to her. I'll teach you how to use it. He hugged her from behind and guided her hands, showing her how to aim and fire. Sansa fired a test shot toward a distant mountain peak. A thick, crimson energy beam lanced out and struck the peak, causing a large explosion. Sansa was surprised but not too shocked. She had already used her new immense physical strength, the Faraga spell, and the lightning spell. She stored the Spartan laser in her ring, turned to Jacob, and kissed him gently on the lips. To be honest, she said, when I woke up this morning, I was still a little scared that you would abandon me, that you just wanted to use me to control the North. But after I dropped my blood on that mark on your hand, all the doubts in my heart vanished. And with all these powers you've given me, I'm sure I could defeat any army, even one with dragons and tens of thousands of men. And I'm weaker than you. Way weaker than you. She looked him in the eyes and smiled. Now I know for sure that you don't need me to control the North. You don't need anyone, even if you wanted to control all of Westeros. She paused. You probably don't even care about ruling Westeros, do you? Jacob shrugged. Not really. I mean, it would be fun, but I need to wait for the rest of the family before I decide. I can't do it alone. I mean the ruling part, not the taking over and defeating armies. I don't know anything about ruling a country. And if I wanted to truly rule Westeros, I'd need to do it right, change this continent for the better. That's a lot of work, and I know I don't have the patience for it. Sansa placed a hand on his arm. Well, whatever you decide to do, I will help. And if I don't know something, I will learn. Jacob gave her a quick kiss. We'll talk about that later. He smirked. Now, let me show you a real dragon. Chapter 184, The Dragon Revealed. Jacob smiled at Sansa. Now, let me show you a real dragon. He stepped away from her and, after a moment of thought, said, I'll be right back. He teleported back to Moat Cailin and found Arya alone in the capsule house, watching Tom and Jerry and laughing after finishing her training. Arya startled when he appeared. You scared me. Jacob put a hand on her shoulder. Let's go. I want to show you something. Then he teleported back to Sansa and dropped Arya beside her. He walked away from them and began to remove his clothes. Sansa blushed. What are you doing? Jacob said, I'm going to show you girls what I am. Clothes won't survive the transformation. Seeing Jacob down to his underwear, Sansa covered Arya's eyes. You shouldn't watch that pervert. Arya tried to pull Sansa's hand away but couldn't. Hey, how come you're freakishly strong now? Sansa smiled. Jacob made me strong. Arya shouted. Hey, Jacob. Why is Sansa stronger than me? That's not fair. Jacob called back, behave yourself, and I might make you as strong as her. He added, Sansa, I won't take off my underwear, so you can remove your hand from Arya's eyes. She needs to see what's going to happen next. Sansa removed her hand, and both girls watched, wondering what Jacob was about to do. Jacob said, all right, remember, don't be scared. I won't hurt you. Sansa and Arya watched with wide eyes as Jacob began to shift into his full dragon form. His human frame expanded and transformed. Horns grew from his head. Black scales spread across his body. He grew and grew until a 30-meter black dragon with a 60-meter wingspan stood before them. He raised his head and let out a deafening roar, a sound they felt in their bodies before they heard it. The ground trembled beneath them. Arya stumbled back and fell to the ground, staring at Jacob in shock. Even though he was restraining his aura, what leaked out was still overwhelming for her. But Sansa wasn't scared. She felt something else entirely. She felt stronger. She took a step toward Jacob, then another, until she stood just 3 meters away, looking up at his massive frame. Jacob lowered his massive head toward her. She reached out and touched the hard, smooth surface of a scale on his snout. It was warm. She traced its edge, then curiously touched one of his fangs. So, she said softly, when you said you were going to show me a dragon, you were talking about yourself. Jacob's deep, monstrous voice rumbled. Yes, I'm a dragon. Arya gathered her courage, walked to Sansa's side, and hesitated. Jacob's voice was gentle despite its depth. Go ahead, touch me if you want. I won't eat you. Arya touched his scales and smiled. I've dreamed of seeing a dragon for as long as I can remember. Jacob asked, so, what do you think? Are you disappointed? Arya shook her head. No, you're everything I imagined and more. I can't stop my body from shaking, even though I know you won't hurt me. She looked at her sister. But why aren't you afraid of him? Sansa smiled. He's my husband. Arya shook her head helplessly. Lovesick fool. Then she turned to Jacob excitedly. Can I ride you? Sansa suddenly stiffened. No. Arya frowned. Why? It's not like I'm trying to take him away from you. We could both ride him. Sansa's cheeks flushed. No, that's not it. She hesitated, then added, you just can't ride him. Or let him ride you. You're too young for that. Arya looked confused. What are you even talking about? Sansa's face burned. Just trust me. Stay away from him. She turned to Jacob and glared. I was wondering why you said a dragon could ride me, and why you were laughing yesterday. Now I understand, you pervert. Jacob's deep laughter rumbled through the air. I didn't lie, did I? He burst out laughing, his voice so deep and loud it shook the ground. His massive body collapsed onto its side, and he pounded the earth with his hand, creating a crater. Sansa grabbed Arya and leapt away, landing far from him as he writhed with laughter. She shook her head helplessly. When Jacob finally composed himself, he wrapped Sansa and Arya in his telekinesis and lifted them onto his massive back. Then he took off, flying high into the sky. Sansa and Arya both enjoyed the flight. Arya screamed with excitement. We flew on a carpet from Bravos to Moat Cailin, but this is much more exciting. Much better. Jacob flew for a while, then turned back toward Moat Cailin. On the roof of a crumbling tower in the abandoned fortress, Brienne and Podrick kept watch, scanning both the northern and southern roads. Podrick suddenly began to shake. His eyes went wide, fixed on something in the eastern sky. Brienne frowned. Hey, what's wrong with you? Podrick didn't answer. He just pointed a trembling hand toward the sky. Brienne followed his gaze, and froze. That's a dragon, she breathed. And it's coming straight for us. She grabbed Podrick's arm. Let's go. Podrick stammered. It's too late, it's already H here, and it SSAW us. Brienne looked back. The massive black dragon was only a few meters away, its red eyes fixed on them. She tried to draw her sword, but her body was shaking, and her hand wouldn't obey. She sighed. We're dead. Then, In front of their shocked eyes, Sansa and Arya appeared above the dragon's head and jumped down beside them. Even more shocking, the massive dragon began to shrink, transforming until a naked man hovered in the air. Brienne's jaw dropped. Your Grace. Jacob disappeared and reappeared behind Sansa, winking at Brienne. Good afternoon. He hugged Sansa from behind. Let's go change our clothes. Then he vanished again with Sansa. Brienne finally found her voice. She turned to Arya. Can you help me understand what I just saw? Arya shrugged. Remember when Jacob said that people from where he's from can shift into animals? Well, he has that ability too. He can shift into a dragon. She turned and started walking. Let's go. It's time for lunch. Brienne sighed. Podrick, let's go. They followed Arya. When they reached the capsule house, Jacob and Sansa came outside. Jacob had changed into his noble Westerosi outfit, dark leather and fine fabric, with his sword griffin at his waist. Sansa wore a dark blue Westerosi gown. At the center of her chest, a circular sigil showed a fierce dragon's head with glowing red eyes, giving off a subtle, fiery glow. Brienne smiled at her. You look beautiful, my lady. I suppose I should call you, Your Grace, from now on. Sansa smiled happily. Thank you, and you can call me Sansa when there are no outsiders. Brienne shook her head. No, I should call you, Your Grace. Sansa nodded. As you wish. Jacob clapped his hands. All right, I need to go somewhere. I'll be back tomorrow or the day after. Sansa asked, where are you going? Jacob smiled. I'm going to bring you a gift. Sansa shook her head. No, I don't need any more gifts. You've already given me enough for a lifetime. I don't even think I deserve what you've given me. Jacob caught her hand. You are my wife. There is no gift you don't deserve. Remember that. He turned to Brienne, pulled out a Mirakuru vial, and handed it to her along with a silver knight's outfit bearing his sigil. Go inside the bathroom and drink this. It will make you as strong as Arya. Then wear these clothes. They're enchanted and cannot be penetrated by normal weapons. Brienne took the vial and clothes like they were treasures. Remembering Jacob disliked kneeling, she didn't know what to do and simply said sincerely, Thank you, Your Grace. I will serve your house until I die. I swear it. Jacob smiled. You're welcome. From now on, if you want to greet me, you can give me a salute, like this. He demonstrated. This is a formal gesture used to display respect, honor, or greeting where I'm from. Brienne returned the salute. I understand, Your Grace. Jacob turned to Podrick. He pulled a camping tent from his pocket dimension and set it up not far from the house. Then he handed Podrick food and drinks. Work hard, and I will reward you. You're a man, so you can't stay inside the house. This tent is yours. I've given you enough food to last 2 days. If you need more, ask Sansa. He pulled out a large amount of raw sea king meat and skyr buffalo meat from his pocket dimension and tossed some to the 3 giant lizard lions. Then he looked at Sansa. Store this meat in your ring and feed my 3 pets until I come back. Sansa stored the meat in her ring. Jacob kissed her. All right, I'm leaving. Remember, you can always talk to me if something happens. I'll show up immediately. Sansa nodded. Be safe. Come back soon. Jacob used his telekinesis to lift off the ground, soaring into the sky. He pulled out Jack Sparrow's compass and thought of King's Landing. The compass pointed south. Jacob flew in that direction at high speed, using telekinesis and lightning. Chapter 185, King's Landing. Meanwhile, in the Teen Wolf world, a few minutes before Sansa became one of Jacob's wives. Beacon Hills, Jacob's mansion. Lydia, Allison, Malia, Melissa, and Kitty were having lunch in the kitchen while Cogman served them. Lydia, Allison, and Melissa chatted quietly. Kitty ate with focused determination. Malia lay slumped across the table, absently pushing food around her plate. Melissa looked at Malia, rubbed her head gently, and said, We all miss him, but you have to eat something, Malia. You haven't eaten anything all day. Malia didn't lift her head. I don't like how I'm feeling. Especially when I woke up today. I feel like part of me is missing. Allison set down her fork. We all feel the same. But he'll be back soon. Besides, it's only been 3 days. Malia sighed. It feels like 3 years. And he said he'd be gone for a whole month. That's way too much time without him. And I hate going to Serendel because time there moves too slow. Lydia pushed a piece of meat around her plate. We all hate going to Serendel after he left. To be honest, I didn't sleep much last night. I kept thinking about him. Is he hungry? Is he cold? Is he alone? Is he safe? Or did he find a new woman, or several women, and is enjoying himself while forgetting about us? Melissa gave her a patient smile. Well, he's definitely not hungry or cold. And from our connection to him, we all know he's safe. As for whether he found a woman or not, who knows? But he will never forget about us. He'll be back. You girls just need to be a little patient. Go shopping, play video games, or how about we travel, go to Europe or something? Lydia perked up slightly. That sounds like a good idea. Let's travel tomorrow. Allison smiled. Let's go to Europe and spend a few days in Venice. Then let's go to Japan. I've always wanted to visit ever since I started watching anime. Melissa nodded. And maybe we can go on a safari in Africa. What do you think, Malia? Malia shrugged. That's fine, I guess. I'll join you. Melissa patted her back. Then eat your food, and let's get ready to travel. They all began eating, chatting about their upcoming trip, but suddenly, all four of them froze. Their forks clattered against plates. They felt it. A new connection. A new wife. Malia's eyes glowed golden. A low growl rumbled in her throat. Kitty looked up, startled. Hey, what's wrong with you? You scared me. Malia's voice was tight. Jay just added a new wife to the family. Kitty's eyes widened. Really, he's only been gone for 3 days. Melissa sighed. Calm down, Malia, we all know what he is. Malia's growl deepened. I don't care about him getting more wives. I'd even help him kidnap any girl he likes. But the least he can do is take us with him, not leave us behind, thinking about him day and night, while he's out there enjoying himself. She clenched her fists. I'm going to beat his ass when he comes back. Lydia's face was flushed with anger. From now on, he's not allowed to go to a new world alone. He'll take us with him. Or if he wants to explore a new world first, he'll go for only a few hours and come back for us. She crossed her arms. He will definitely pay for leaving us behind when he returns. Cogman tilted his head thoughtfully. I wonder what my new lady is like. I hope she likes to fight and kill like Lady Malia. Or a sadistic woman who enjoys torturing people. Allison glared at him. Cogman, shut up. Go book us a flight to Europe for tomorrow. Cogman straightened. We don't need that, my lady. I purchased a private jet for Sir's birthday, but I thought he would prefer the Cybertronian robots, so I never told him. The jet is at the airport. We simply need to obtain the necessary international permits and submit a flight plan, and we will be ready to take off. Allison waved a hand. Then go do that, and stop standing there like an idiot. Cogman saw that Allison was not in a good mood and wisely left the kitchen without another word. Allison turned to Malia. How about we go spar? I need to do something to stop thinking about that idiot having fun with another woman while we're here missing him and worrying about him. Malia stood. Okay, let's go. They both teleported to Serendel and began a serious sparring session, using their full strength. Kitty finished her food in a few quick bites and followed them. Lydia looked at Melissa. Aren't you upset? Melissa shook her head. Not really. I miss him terribly, but I think he's allowed to have some fun. A small smile crossed her lips. But I will teach him a lesson if he doesn't come back after a month. Lydia smirked. When he comes back, I'm going to make him watch several romantic movies with me. And take me shopping for a whole day. And also take me shopping in the new world too. She leaned back, thoughtful. I wonder what our new sister is like. Is she someone from a show or a movie we've seen? Is she old or young? What kind of personality does she have? A genuine smile appeared. I'm actually looking forward to meeting her. Melissa nodded. Me too. I want to know who she is. She stood. Now, let's go plan our trip. Lydia jumped up excitedly. Oh, yes, let's go. They moved to the living room, pulled out their phones, and began planning where to visit, what fun activities to do, where to eat, and most importantly, where to shop. Back in the Game of Thrones world, Jacob had already arrived above King's Landing. He pulled a long, hooded cloak from his pocket dimension and wrapped it around himself to avoid attracting too much attention. Then he teleported from the sky down to the streets of King's Landing and began walking. The city was overwhelming. The stench hit him first, a thick, sour mix of sweat, garbage, human waste, and something rotting. He wrinkled his nose and kept to the cleaner streets, steering clear of alleyways where the smell was worse. Flea Bottom must be unbearable, he thought, remembering the name from the show. He passed the Street of Steel, where blacksmiths hammered swords and armor. He passed the Street of Silk, where women in colorful dresses called to him from balconies. He passed the Great Sept of Baylor, its crystal dome glinting in the afternoon sun. The richer neighborhoods were cleaner, wider streets, fewer puddles of filth, more guards in golden cloaks. But even here, the smell of the city clung to everything, faint but persistent. King's Landing stinks, Jacob concluded. It stinks of piss, shit, and desperation. After finishing his tour, Jacob snuck into the Red Keep. He found a secluded corner of the castle gardens, hidden behind a hedge of roses, and sat down. A system window had appeared the moment he arrived in the city. Location sign-in available. Sign-in location. The underground storage chamber of the Red Keep, where the skull of Balerion the Black Dread, alongside 18 other Targaryen dragon skulls, is located. Jacob dismissed the notification and thought, Allison and the others definitely felt the connection to Sansa. I should go back home after I return to Moat Cailin and talk to them. If I stay here for a whole month, that will only make things worse. Besides, I already miss them terribly. I can't stay away for a whole month. He paused. But before that, I need gifts. I already got a bow for Allison. Lydia will probably love the enchanted Westerosi clothes. Maybe Malia will like the 3 lizard lions. As for Melissa, let's hope I get something good from the location sign-in. He looked at the Red Keep and activated his X-ray vision. Guards patrolled the hallways, stood at every entrance, watched from every tower. Too many guards to sneak in without being noticed. Let's avoid unnecessary trouble for now and teleport directly to the underground storage chamber, he thought. He scanned the underground levels until he found the storage chamber with the dragon skulls. It was empty, no guards inside or nearby. Jacob teleported directly into the chamber. He stood before a massive skull. This is Balerion the Black Dread skull, Jacob thought. That thing was enormous. Even in my dragon form, I'm not even a third of its size. He walked around it, studying the empty eye sockets, the rows of dagger-like teeth, the sheer scale of the creature that had once ridden the skies of Westeros. After a long moment, he addressed the system. System, sign in. Location sign in successful. Rewards obtained. Keycap 1 Fire Element Crystal. Awakens Fire Element upon consumption. Keycap 2 Wyvern Eggs X10. Hatches wyverns loyal to you and your wives. It is best to let each wife hatch her own egg by dropping her blood on it, that way, the wyvern will gain some of her powers. Keycap 3 Enhanced Luke Cage Serum Marvel X20, a serum with no side effects. Grants complete immunity to fire at any temperature, from any source, magical or mundane. The user's skin, muscle, and bones become as strong as titanium steel, rendering them immune to conventional firearms and bladed weapons. Enchanted bullets and enchanted blades can still penetrate. The serum also provides superhuman strength with a lifting capacity of 50 tons, as well as accelerated cellular healing. Jacob read the first reward and smiled. Niece, Lydia would love this fire element crystal. He read the second reward and nodded approvingly. That's a good reward too. I'll have my own small army of wyverns, and they can breed and multiply. I can't wait to hatch my own wyvern. And with these eggs, I don't have to worry about gifts for the girls anymore. I'm sure they'll love baby wyverns. Then he read the third reward and asked, System, can you tell me how this enhanced Luke Cage serum compares to the Hulk serum? The superhuman strength and supernatural healing granted by the Hulk serum after consumption are far superior to the Luke Cage serum. However, the Luke Cage serum grants immunity to fire and superior skin defense. The Hulk serum only makes the skin impenetrable to small caliber weapons. You can give it to your wives to drink. As for you, you do not need it. Your human skin already protects you even against weak enchanted weapons, and your dragon scales provide even greater defense. I see, I'll give it to the girls when I return. Jacob looked at Balerion's skull and smirked. It's a shame to leave you here gathering dust. I'll take you to decorate the garden in front of the palace in Serendel. He placed a hand on the giant skull and stored it in his pocket dimension. He took 7 other large skulls, not as massive as Balerion's, but still enormous. The smallest among them was larger than Daenerys's largest dragon, Drogon, at the end of the show. When he finished, Jacob used his X-ray vision to locate the royal treasury. He teleported inside, intending to plunder the Lannister gold. The treasury was vast, but the chests were empty. Not a single coin remained. Jacob spat on the ground. What a disappointment. These bastards are broke. He used his X-ray vision again and located the Great Hall of the Red Keep, where the Iron Throne sat. He teleported directly from the underground chamber to the empty Great Hall. The hall was vast and cold, its high ceiling lost in shadow. Tapestries depicting Lannister victories hung on the walls, and at the far end, on a raised dais, sat the Iron Throne. Jacob walked to it, climbed the steps, and sat down. He shifted, trying to find a comfortable position. He couldn't. He sighed. This thing is uncomfortable. He addressed the system. How come you didn't give me a location sign-in for this room? Or a quest to sit on the Iron Throne? Do not be greedy, host. You already received a location sign-in. Perhaps another time, and if you want a quest to sit on the Iron Throne, it will not be simply sitting as you are doing now. You would need to become the new king of the 7 kingdoms. Jacob sighed again. Fine. He removed his cloak and stored it back in his pocket dimension. Then he pulled out his phone, took a few selfies with the Iron Throne in the background, and put it back in his pocket dimension. Time to grab that bastard knight and head back to Moat Cailin. Chapter 186, The Small Council. Jacob sat on the Iron Throne, leaning back with his legs crossed, and activated his X-ray vision. He scanned through the stone walls of the Great Hall, past corridors and chambers, until his eyes landed on the small council chamber. Cersei Lannister stood near a window, her golden hair catching the afternoon light. She was speaking to Mace Tyrell, who sat at the council table with a puffed chest and a foolish smile. Grand Maester Pycelle hunched in his seat, playing frail as always. And on another seat sat a thin man in dark robes, Qyburn, Cersei's loyal lackey, the disgraced former maester who had taken Varys' place as Master of Whisperers. But Jacob wasn't interested in any of them. His eyes locked onto the man standing in the shadows of the chamber. Tall, blonde, grim-faced, wearing the golden bronze armor of the Kingsguard, with a golden helm tucked under his arm. Esser Marin Trant. Jacob teleported from the Iron Throne directly into the shadows of the small council chamber, leaning against the cold stone wall with his arms crossed. No one noticed him, no one sensed him, he was a ghost in the corner, listening. Cersei turned from the window, her voice smooth and commanding. We must send an envoy to the Iron Bank. Someone of importance to show these bankers our respect. She looked directly at Mace Tyrell. As the king's master of coin, I can think of no one more qualified. Mace Tyrell swelled with pride. He placed a hand on his chest and beamed. I would be honored, your grace. Cersei's lips curled into a smirk. The king has expressed concern about his good father's safety on this voyage. He's ordered Esser Marin to personally lead your escort. Marin Trant stepped forward from the shadows, his golden armor clanking with each step. He stopped beside Cersei, his face expressionless. Mace Tyrell looked at the Kingsguard knight, then back at Cersei, his smile faltering slightly. A member of the Kingsguard. Please, Safe travels, Lord Tyrell. Cersei cut him off, her tone final. Mace Tyrell hesitated, then recovered his smile. He stood and adjusted his robes. Of course. I'll give your regards to the Titan of Bravos. Jacob stepped out of the shadows. His boots clicked against the stone floor. Everyone turned. They saw him. Jacob smiled, polite, pleasant, entirely out of place. I'm afraid you won't be able to go to Bravos. Mace Tyrell squinted at him. Why not, and who are you, boy? Jacob's smile didn't waver as he looked at Mace Tyrell. Not you, old fool. I wasn't talking to you. His gaze shifted to Marin Trant, and his smile turned sharp. I was talking about him. Cersei backed away slowly, her eyes fixed on Jacob. Qyburn rose from his chair and moved to stand beside her, his expression curious rather than frightened. Marin Trant drew his sword and stepped in front of Cersei. Who are you, and how did you get past the guards? Jacob tilted his head. I'm your worst nightmare, you bastard. His voice dropped, cold and quiet. You hid my wife, you humiliated her, and now you're going to pay for it. Marin Trant laughed, a short, ugly sound. Which whore is your wife? I meet a lot of whores every night. I can't remember them the next day. He grinned, showing teeth. But maybe if you tell me her name, I might remember her. Jacob didn't get angry, he laughed. It started as a chuckle, then grew into something louder, manic, unhinged, echoing off the stone walls. He walked toward Marin Trant slowly, each step deliberate, and stopped a few feet away. The laughter stopped. That was a good comeback, Jacob said, almost admiringly. I'll give you that. His smile faded. The temperature in the room rose. The air grew thick, heavy. Everyone began to sweat. Grand Maester Pycelle wiped his brow with a trembling hand. Mace Tyrell tugged at his collar. Even Qyburn shifted uncomfortably. Then they felt it. Not heat, not pressure, terror. It pressed down on their chests like a giant hand squeezing their hearts. Their breaths came short, their legs weakened. Cersei grabbed the back of a chair to steady herself. Jacob's voice was low and deadly. But as funny as that was, you shouldn't have said it. He took another step forward. I already hated your guts. But I was just going to take you back to my wife and her sister so they could deal with you. Another step. Now, I've changed my mind. Marin Trant's hand tightened on his sword. His heart pounded against his ribs. Every step Jacob took sounded like a drumbeat of doom. When Jacob was only a meter away, Marin Trant gathered all his courage and swung his sword. The blade arced toward Jacob's neck. To everyone's shock, Jacob caught the blade with his bare hand and shattered it like glass. His hand didn't stop, it continued through the broken blade and closed around Marin's throat. He lifted the Kingsguard knight off the ground. Marin Trant's eyes bulged, his legs kicked uselessly in the air. Jacob slammed him onto the stone floor on his back. The impact knocked the air out of his lungs. Jacob stepped on Marin Trant's right arm. The bone snapped like a dry twig. Marin screamed. Jacob stepped on his left arm. Another snap, another scream. He stepped on his right leg. Then his left. Bones cracked. Marin Trant howled. Jacob tore the golden chest plate from Marin's chest like it was paper. The metal screeched and folded in his hands. He tossed it aside. Then he pressed his thumbs against Marin Trant's rib cage and began breaking them. One by one. Crack, 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 crack. Marin Trant's screams filled the chamber. High, wet, desperate. Cersei and others watched in horror. Grand Maester Pycelle, who usually pretended to be a frail, doddering old man, shot to his feet and scrambled toward the door. Jacob didn't stop breaking ribs. Old man, he said casually, take one more step, and you'll be next. Grand Maester Pycelle froze. He swallowed hard and didn't dare move. Jacob finished breaking Marin Trant's ribs. Then he started punching his face. The first punch broke his nose. Blood sprayed across the floor. The second punch split his lip. The third punch caved in his cheekbone. Marin Trant's face became a bloody, unrecognizable mess. He lost consciousness. Jacob zapped him with a bolt of electricity from his fingertips. Marin Trant woke up screaming. Jacob stood up and stomped on his groin. Once, twice, 3 times. Crunch. Marin Trant's testicles shattered. His pelvis cracked. He screamed until his voice gave out. Then he kept screaming silently, mouth open, tears and blood streaming down his ruined face. He lost consciousness again. Jacob stepped back. He waved his hand. White light enveloped Marin Trant's broken body. Bones knitted, flesh mended, cuts sealed. Within seconds, he was whole again. Marin Trant sat up, gasping. He patted his face, his chest, his arms. All healed. If not for the blood soaking his clothes and pooling on the floor, he might have thought it was all a bad dream. Jacob smirked. Ready for round 2. Marin Trant's eyes went wide with primal terror. No. Jacob didn't listen. He beat Marin Trant half to death again. Broke his arms, shattered his knees, crushed his ribs, stomped his groin. Healed him, beat him again, healed him, beat him again. Marin Trant lost count. He lost track of time. He lost his sanity. Finally, Jacob stopped. He healed Marin Trant one last time. Marin sat on the floor, covered in blood, staring up at Jacob with hollow, broken eyes. He began crawling backward, his hands slipping in the blood. Please, he whimpered. Please, just kill me. Please. Jacob walked toward him. Marin Trant started crying. No, 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 please, don't come near me, you demon, please. Jacob slapped him across the face, once, hard, and Marin's eyes rolled back. He collapsed, unconscious. Jacob turned to face Cersei and the others. His face was splattered with Marin's blood. His clothes were clean, enchanted, after all, but his skin was painted red. He waved his hand over himself, and a white light swept across his body. The blood vanished, leaving him spotless. He gave them a gentle smile. Sorry you had to see that. I just hate it when someone disrespects my family. Grand Maester Pycelle and Mace Tyrell scrambled behind Cersei, using her as a shield. Qyburn stood his ground but his hands were trembling. Cersei forced herself to stand straight. Her voice was steady, but Jacob could hear her heart hammering in her chest. Who are you, sorcerer? Jacob shook his head. No, I'm not a sorcerer, and you'll hear my name soon enough. He tilted his head. You can relax. Although we are enemies, I'm not here for you today. I'm only here for this pig, Marin. Qyburn stepped forward slightly. His eyes studied the sigil on Jacob's chest, the black dragon's head with burning red eyes on a crimson field. That sigil, Qyburn said. I've never seen it before. Are you related to the Targaryens? Jacob smirked. No, he paused. Not yet, at least. Cersei's voice was tight. Are you aiming for the Iron Throne? Is that why we are enemies? Jacob walked toward her. She didn't back away. She was terrified, but she stood her ground and looked up into his eyes. He stopped inches from her, close enough to count the freckles on her nose. He could hear her heartbeat. He could smell her fear. He looked her up and down, then met her eyes. You must have been a beauty when you were young, he said. Then he shook his head. Too bad, you're an evil woman and an incestuous bitch. Cersei said nothing. She just stared at him, her face pale, her lips pressed together. She didn't dare show anger. Jacob walked past her to the window behind the council table. He looked out at the city, at the rooftops and the distant sea. Grand Maester Pycelle and Mace Tyrell, who had been hiding behind Cersei, dropped to the floor and began crawling away from him on their hands and knees. Jacob ignored them. As for why we are enemies, he said, still looking out the window, it's because you are the enemy of my wife. And you can never make peace with her. You hurt her too much. You hurt her family too much. Cersei's mind raced. She thought through every possible candidate, every noble house, every surviving daughter. Who is your wife? She asked. Jacob turned from the window and walked toward Marin Trant. He paused beside her. You're a smart woman, he said. I'm sure you've already guessed. He walked past her, and grabbed Marin Trant by the ankle. My wife said that your daughter and Tommen were very kind to her. His voice was quieter now. So let me give you a piece of advice. Save Myrcella as soon as possible. Ellaria Sand will definitely try to kill her. He glanced back at her. And you'd better send an army. One man can't save her. He was about to teleport, but stopped. I shouldn't teleport in front of them, he thought. I want them to think they have a chance against me. Maybe they'll even send a few assassins after me. That could be fun. He dragged Marin Trant out of the chamber and into the corridor. Guards rushed toward him, swords drawn. Jacob didn't even look at them. He waved his hand, and telekinetic force slammed them against the stone walls. Their heads cracked against the rock. They slumped to the ground, unconscious. Jacob teleported out of King's Landing. Chapter 187, Marin's End. After Jacob left, Cersei's legs gave out. She stumbled to a chair and sank into it, lost in thought. Qyburn hesitated, then ran to the door. He looked out into the corridor. The guards lay scattered on the floor, unconscious but alive. He hurried back inside. He's gone, Your Grace, Qyburn said. Should I tell the White Cloaks to search for him? Cersei shook her head slowly. No. She looked at Grand Maester Pycelle and Mace Tyrell with disgust. The two old men were still sitting on the floor, trembling. Lord Tyrell, she said coldly, I will arrange a new guard to escort you to Bravos. Now leave us. You too, Grand Maester. Leave us. The two old men scrambled to their feet and fled the chamber. The heavy oak doors clicked shut, leaving the room in cold silence. Cersei's green eyes fixed on Qyburn. I don't know how that man knew, she hissed, her voice a sharp whisper, but Jaime already went to Dorne to rescue Myrcella. Now that Hor Elaria Sand will kill him and my daughter. Qyburn tucked his hands into his sleeves. What do you think we should do, Your Grace? Cersei leaned close, her voice a sharp whisper. We cannot send an army to Dorne. That would trigger an unwinnable war, one we are not prepared to fight. So we take away what she cares about most. Her biological daughter, Tyene. I want her in chains. Qyburn nodded slowly. Capturing her will require local sellswords who know the terrain. I do not care about the cost. I have gold. Cersei's voice was iron. Hire the sellswords. But remember, Tyene must be taken alive and brought to me as soon as possible. She glanced at the window. The moment she is in our custody, I will tell Elaria that if Jaime is hurt, or if Myrcella so much as coughs, I will turn her precious daughter over to Gregor Clegane. She turned back to Qyburn. Now go. Do it quietly. Qyburn offered a small bow. Do not worry, Your Grace. I will not let you down. By the time Elaria realizes her daughter is missing, she will be crossing the Blackwater. Cersei nodded. Also, help me find out who that man who took Esser Meryn is. Qyburn asked, do you know that man's wife, Your Grace? Cersei's jaw clenched. The little bitch Sansa Stark. She is the only one I can think of who knows my children and was beaten and humiliated by Esser Meryn. Qyburn nodded. I will do my best to find out who he is, Your Grace. Also, Cersei added, call Baelish back. He was tasked with finding Sansa, but I haven't heard from him in a while. And speed up your experiment. I want Gregor Clegane at my side, protecting me, as soon as possible. Qyburn offered another small bow and left. Cersei sat alone in the council chamber, her gaze fixed on the bloodstains spread across the floor, lost in thought. Moat Cailin, night. Jacob appeared in front of the capsule house. The three lizard lions raised their heads, saw him, and lowered them again. Bowser let out a sleepy hiss that might have been a greeting. The lights were on inside the house. Through the window, Jacob could see the glow of the television. Sansa felt him through their bond before she saw him. She came running out of the house, her red hair flying behind her, wearing his sweatpants and hoodie. She jumped into his arms. Jacob caught her with a grin. Did you miss me? Sansa smiled. Yes, I did. She kissed him deeply. When they separated, she asked, where did you go? King's Landing. Her eyes widened. King's Landing, you went there and came back in just a few hours. Jacob nodded. Yes. He pointed at the unconscious figure lying on the ground a few meters away. I brought you a gift. Sansa looked at the man and recognized him. That's. Meryn Trant lay face down in the mud, still unconscious, what was left of his armor stained with dirt and blood. Arya and Brienne came out of the house. Arya's hand went to her dagger. That's Meryn Trant, Arya said, her voice cold. Jacob nodded. He's all yours, girls. He sent a small spark of electricity from his fingertip into Meryn's body. The knight jerked awake. Meryn groaned and raised a hand to shield his eyes from the porch light. Then he saw Jacob standing over him. He screamed in terror. Please. Meryn Trant scrambled backward, his hands slipping in the mud. Please, just kill me. Please. Arya smiled. Jacob, what did you do to him? Jacob shrugged. I might have beaten him half to death and healed him a few times. Sansa stood in front of Meryn, her voice cold with anger. Do you remember me? But Meryn didn't hear her. He was curled in a ball, rocking back and forth, repeating the same words over and over. Please, just kill me, please, just kill me. Sansa looked at Jacob. It seems like you broke him. Jacob sighed. Sorry about that, let me fix him. He walked to Meryn, crouched down, and grabbed his chin, forcing the man to look into his eyes. His own eyes glowed red. He activated his compulsion ability. Forget that we met before, Jacob commanded. Forget that I beat you. Forget everything that happened to you today. Meryn Trant's eyes glazed over. When Jacob released him, the terror in his face faded. He blinked and looked around, confused. Where am I? He muttered. Then he saw Sansa. His brow furrowed. You're the Stark girl, he said. Sansa's voice was cold. Yes, I am. I'm glad you remember me. Meryn Trant looked around at the ruined fortress, at the strange house, at the 3 massive lizard lions sleeping in the shadows. Where is this? How did I get here? Sansa ignored his questions. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're going to pay for what you did to me. She looked at Arya. You said he's on your list. Arya nodded. He murdered my teacher and friend, Syrio Forel. Sansa's voice was cold. Then go ahead, kill him, but make it slow. I want him to suffer. I want him to be humiliated. And I want him to beg for a merciful death. Arya smirked. She went inside the house and returned with her sword, needle. She looked at Podrick, who had come out of his tent when he heard the commotion. Podrick, give him one of the swords left behind by the dead Bolton men. Podrick went to a corner near the capsule house, retrieved a sword, and tossed it toward Meryn. The blade landed in the mud beside him. Arya pointed needle at him. Pick up the sword and fight. Meryn Trant didn't need to be told twice. He grabbed the sword and scrambled to his feet. His eyes darted from Arya to Jacob to Sansa to Brienne to Podrick, then dismissed them all and locked onto Brienne. In his mind, she was the only real threat. He was wrong. Arya attacked. She used the water dancing moves she had learned from Syrio, toying with Meryn. She moved like water. Her blade flickered and flashed, and Meryn Trant could barely follow it. He swung wildly, desperately, but Arya was always somewhere else, behind him, to the side, above him. She stabbed him in the arm. He screamed. She stabbed him in the thigh. He stumbled. She poked out his left eye. He howled and dropped his sword, clawing at his face. Her blade sliced through the tendons in his wrists. His hands went limp. He fell to his knees, begging for mercy. Please, he begged, blood streaming from his eye socket. Please, have mercy, I beg you. He received no mercy from her. Arya slashed his chest, his cheek. She stabbed his stomach, his shoulder, and his hip. Not deep enough to kill. Deep enough to hurt. Meryn Trant sobbed. Please, please. Arya didn't stop. She kept slashing and stabbing with her thin sword, methodical and precise. Sansa watched until Meryn was choking on his own blood, unable even to beg anymore. She was satisfied. That's enough, Arya. Put him out of his misery. Arya drove needle through his heart. Meryn Trant's eyes went wide. He gasped once, twice, then slumped forward into the mud. Jacob waved his hand. A fire serpent burst from his palm and consumed the body. When it faded, nothing remained but ash. All right, Jacob said, clapping his hands together. Let's go inside. I'm hungry. Brienne inclined her head. I will stay outside with Podrick and keep watch, Your Grace. She met Jacob's eyes. And thank you again for making me strong. Jacob nodded. You're welcome. He went inside with Arya and Sansa. They ate dinner. Then they watched the movie Brave. Is that a bear? Sansa asked, pointing at the screen. That's a bear, Jacob confirmed. I thought you said this was about a princess. It is. She turns her mom into a bear later. When the movie ended, Arya went to her room. Jacob and Sansa went to his. They lay on the bed. Sansa rested her head on his chest, and he ran his fingers through her hair. Thank you, she said softly, for bringing that bastard to me. Jacob continued stroking her hair. You're welcome. Sansa asked, did you meet Cersei? Jacob nodded. Yeah, but it's not time to kill her yet. Killing her now would be boring. I still need her to raise an army we can have fun with. Sansa smiled. Did you tell her who you are? I didn't tell her my name. But she knows I'm your husband. He chuckled. She also saw me brutally beat Meryn and heal him multiple times. She's terrified of me. Did you do anything else in King's Landing? I walked around the city. Jacob wrinkled his nose. It stinks. Sansa laughed. Yes, it does. Jacob continued. I took the skull of Balerion the Black Dread and a few other dragon skulls. I'm going to put them in the garden in front of the palace in Serendel. He paused. I also sneaked into the royal treasury. Sansa sat up slightly. How much gold did you take? Jacob snorted. Not a single coin. The treasury was empty. The crown has a debt of 6 million gold dragons. Sansa lay back down. If you take over as the new king of the 7 kingdoms, you'll have to pay that debt. Why should I? The motto of the Iron Bank of Bravos is, the Iron Bank will have its due. They'll send armies after you. They'll fund your enemies. Jacob smiled. I really hope they're stupid enough to do that. I was in Bravos a few days ago, but the thought of robbing the Iron Bank never crossed my mind because they weren't my enemies. But if they attack me, or even threaten me, I will take everything they have. Every single coin. Sansa smiled. You probably can't wait for them to attack you, right? With how strong you are, they'll just be delivering wealth to you. That's right. They talked for a while longer, about the Iron Bank, about the Lannisters, about the dragon skulls Jacob had stolen. Then Jacob's expression softened. I'll be going home tomorrow, he said. Sansa's hand tightened on his chest. How long will you be gone? A day. Then I'll come back and take you to meet Alicent and the others. Sansa nodded. Okay. She was quiet for a moment. Then she climbed on top of him, straddling his waist, and kissed him. Then we should consummate our marriage, she said, her cheeks flushed. Jacob's hand settled on her waist. If that's what you want, I'll gladly do it. Sansa nodded, shy but certain. Yes, that's what I want. Jacob created an energy shield around the room to keep the sounds from escaping. He didn't say anything else. He captured her lips in a kiss and gently flipped her beneath him. Soon, their clothes were gone. They made love for hours, sometimes slow and tender, sometimes urgent and passionate, until Sansa could not continue. Exhausted and satisfied, she fell asleep in his arms, a peaceful smile on her face. Jacob held her close, pressed a kiss to her forehead, dismissed the system notification without looking at it, and let sleep take him as well. Chapter 188, Sansa's Bloodline. Jacob woke the next morning to find Sansa still asleep in his arms, her red hair spread across his chest like fire, her breathing slow and peaceful. He kissed her forehead gently, then turned his attention inward and finally checked the rewards he had received for consummating the bond. A system window materialized in his vision. Congratulations, host, you have consummated your bond with Sansa Stark. Your strength will now begin to grow faster than before, and you may grant Sansa abilities and bloodlines rewarded by the system. Rewards for consummating the bond with Sansa Stark. Keycap 1 Aerokinesis, the ability to generate, shape, and manipulate air and wind currents. Keycap 2 Enchanted Undergarments, self-cleaning underwear for men and women, shirts, shorts, leggings, tank tops, etc. that automatically shift with the wearer between human and beast forms. Keycap 3 Nightmare Horses Summoning Scroll, Dungeons and Dragons, a scroll that summons a herd of 40 powerful, pitch-black nightmare horses. The herd includes stallions, mares, and foals. They breathe fire, their hooves blaze with heat that can melt steel, their manes transform into roaring flames, and they can fly by galloping through the air with fiery hoofprints trailing behind. Riders gain complete immunity to all fire damage while mounted. The herd is loyal to you and anyone who shares your soul bond. Jacob read the first reward. Now I've completed the 4 basic elements, water, fire, earth, and wind, he thought. But there are still other elements, wood, space, darkness, and so on. I hope I get them all. He read the second reward and nodded approvingly. That's a good reward. I don't care when I shift and destroy my clothes, but I don't want my wives to be seen naked. Especially Malia. She doesn't care that much. When she shifts into her giant coyote form, if I hadn't stopped her, she would shift back to her naked human form in front of Styles and the others. With these clothes, I don't have to worry that any man other than me will see her naked. He read the last reward and grinned. Niece, those horses are cool. I'll summon them when I go back home. He addressed the system. System, show me what kind of bloodline Sansa can receive. Please select one of the following bloodlines for your mate. Keycap 1 True Alpha Werewolf, Teen Wolf. Abilities. Standard Werewolf abilities. Strength grows with willpower. Keycap 2 Iceman's X Gene, Marvel. Abilities. An Omega level X gene that grants complete thermodynamic manipulation, allowing the user to drop their internal and external body temperature below zero and freeze any surrounding moisture instantly. The user can convert their entire body into organic, translucent ice, becoming highly durable and able to reform if shattered. They can build complex cryokinetic constructs from frozen moisture, ice slides for travel, shields for defense, and projectile spikes for offense. At advanced levels, the user can absorb heat energy from environments or objects to freeze them at an atomic level. Keycap 3 Phoenix. Lifespan. Ageless and long-lived. Primary affinity. Fire element. Abilities. Pyrokinesis, telekinesis, teleportation, fire immunity, healing and purification. Flame can heal others and neutralize dark magic, curses, and other harmful effects. Grows stronger through fighting and near-death experiences. Extremely powerful healing factor, shifting into a phoenix. Jacob read all 3 bloodlines carefully. Although the Starks call themselves wolves, the werewolf bloodline is garbage compared to the others, he thought. Iceman's Omega level X gene is good, but the obvious choice here is a phoenix. There's no doubt about it, it's one of the strongest creatures in mythology. He looked down at Sansa, still nestled against his chest. Hey, Sansa, wake up. Sansa stirred, rubbed her eyes, and looked up at him with a shy smile. Good morning, husband. Jacob captured her lips in a kiss. That kiss led to another, and soon he forgot about bloodlines entirely. They made love for 2 hours before finally dragging themselves to the bathroom for a shower. After they dressed, they sat on the bed, and Jacob pulled out a feast from his pocket dimension: pancakes, bacon, fresh fruit, pastries, and coffee. They ate together, trading lazy smiles. Jacob spoke between bites. It's time to make you a supernatural creature like me by giving you a bloodline. There are 3 options. I'll tell you about them, and you choose one. Sansa took a bite of a brownie, her expression curious. Okay. Jacob described each bloodline in detail, the werewolf, Iceman's X-gene, and the phoenix. Sansa looked at him in confusion. I don't understand these things. You choose the best one for me. Jacob nodded. That would be the phoenix bloodline. It's a legendary creature compared to a dragon. Sansa smiled. Okay, how are you going to give it to me? Let's finish breakfast first. After they ate, Jacob said, turn around. Sansa gave him her back. He placed his hand between her shoulder blades. System, merge the phoenix bloodline into Sansa's body. Are you sure, host? Yes. A surge of raw, fiery energy passed from Jacob's palm into Sansa's spine. Her body grew instantly warm, then hot, as if every cell was igniting at once as the ancient power wove itself into her very essence. After 5 minutes, a new prompt appeared in Jacob's vision. You may remove your hand now, host. The transformation will take approximately 1 hour to complete. Jacob withdrew his hand and watched her closely. Her eyes were closed, her expression peaceful. No pain, only calm. Satisfied, he let her finish the transformation. Jacob turned back to the system. System, merge the aerokinesis ability into my body. Are you sure, host? Yes. A faint flicker of warm energy spread through his body and faded quickly. Ability has been successfully merged. He waved his hand, and a gust of wind blew through the room. Then he raised his palm and focused. A sphere of cyan wind energy materialized above his palm, spinning fast. He shaped it into an arrow, then a sword, then let it dissipate. He stored the leftover food back in his pocket dimension and lay down on the bed. I wonder what the girls are doing, he thought. Although I've only been away from them for 7 days, I miss them so much. He took out his phone and scrolled through photos of Allison, Lydia, Malia, and Melissa, a soft smile on his face. An hour later, Sansa opened her eyes. They glowed golden. She jumped out of bed in excitement and was about to shift when Jacob said, wait. Let's go somewhere else. I don't want you burning the house down. He hugged her and teleported them both to the grassy mountain they had stood on the day before. Jacob let her go. All right, now you can shift. Sansa closed her eyes and focused. 2 enormous wings spread from her back, layered with crimson, gold, and fiery orange feathers. A moment later, hot flames erupted across them, dancing along every feather without burning her clothes. She flapped her wings, looked at them with an excited smile, then turned to Jacob. What do you think of my wings? Jacob smiled. Beautiful, just like you. Sansa beamed. I think I can turn into a bird. Do it, let me see. Sansa blushed. Okay, but turn around. I want to take my clothes off. Jacob smirked. Why are you still shy? We've done a lot more than just see each other naked. Sansa huffed. I'm not as shameless as you. Jacob shrugged. Go ahead and take your clothes off. I'm not turning around. Sansa sighed but still stripped down to her undergarments. Jacob watched, then pulled out the enchanted underwear he had just received from his pocket dimension and explained, from now on, wear these. They're self-cleaning, and they'll shift with you. They won't tear apart, so you don't have to worry about being naked when you shift back to human form. Sansa took them, pulled on the leggings and shirt, and stored the rest in her ring. Then she shifted. Jacob watched as she transformed into a majestic bird, crimson, gold, and fiery orange feathers covering a body 3 meters tall with a wingspan of 7 meters. Then she ignited her entire body in flames. Jacob whistled. You look gorgeous, and you'll get bigger as you grow stronger. He pulled out his phone and took a picture. Sansa's voice echoed in his head. Jacob, I want to go fly for a bit. Go ahead, I'll wait for you here. The flames on Sansa's body vanished. She flapped her wings and launched into the sky, disappearing into the clouds. Jacob lay on his back in the grass and waited. More than an hour later, Sansa suddenly appeared a few meters above Jacob in her human form, screaming. Jacob shot to his feet and caught her in his arms. What's wrong? Sansa clung to him, her heart racing. That was scary. I turned back to human and tried my teleportation ability. I appeared high in the sky and started falling. I panicked and forgot about my wings. She took a shaky breath. But luckily, I thought of you and used my teleportation again. I appeared right above you. Jacob relaxed. I thought something attacked you. Sansa smiled sheepishly. No, I just forgot about my wings and was scared of falling. Jacob shook his head with a smile. Then you'd better get used to your powers as soon as possible. He set her down. Let me teach you how to use your fire element, telekinesis, and teleportation. For the next 4 hours, Jacob trained her. He taught her how to shape fire into weapons, swords, spears, whips. He taught her how to use telekinesis to lift rocks, to deflect incoming attacks, to pull objects toward her, and to fly. He taught her how to teleport with precision instead of panic. And he sparred with her. He didn't go easy. He knocked her down, sent her flying, and made her use every ounce of her strength and all of her abilities. But every time she fell, she rose again. Until finally, she lay on the ground, spent, trembling, unable to move another muscle. Then a burst of flame erupted from her body, surrounding her completely. When it faded, she stood up, fully healed, full of energy. She clenched her fists. Although it's not that obvious, I feel a little stronger than before. Jacob nodded. That's because your kind grows stronger through fighting in near-death experiences. Sansa smiled. Then I'll have to spar with you more often. She opened her palm. A small, perfect bird of fire curled in her hand, wings stretching, neck arching as if it were alive. You know, she said quietly, my grandfather and uncle were burned alive by the Mad King. I wonder what they would do if they knew I can control fire and that I'm immune to it. Jacob said, considering they died by fire, I'd guess they'd be terrified of you. They'd want to stay as far away from you as possible. They'd disown you. They'd make your father disown you. They'd call you a monster and a witch, then send the whole north after you to kill you. They'd call you the bastard witch of Winterfell. Sansa Snow. Sansa sighed. You're right. They would have looked at me controlling fire and walking through it without even my clothes being burnt, and all they would see is Aerys Targaryen, the Mad King. She closed her fist, and the fire bird vanished. They would have seen a dangerous girl made of fire. A monster wearing Sansa Stark's face. Jacob said, you should know that people will fear you when they see your powers. Then, when they understand that you won't hurt them, they will be jealous. And their fear and jealousy will turn into hatred. How will you feel about that? Sansa's voice was steady. I've been weak and helpless since I left Winterfell. I had to pretend to be obedient to survive. I didn't dare show my emotions. I lived in constant fear. She met his eyes. I don't ever want to feel like that again. So as long as you don't hate me, I don't care if the whole world hates me. They can hate me all they want. But if they dare attack me, I'll defend myself. And I won't mind burning them. I'm done being nice. Jacob hugged her and kissed her. I will never hate you. As for other people, if we end up ruling Westeros, we just need to use the carrot and the stick. We'll show them a better future where their children can live peacefully. We'll show them that we will protect them. And of course, we'll punish and kill anyone who deserves it. Some few idiots will still hate us and conspire against us no matter how good we are to everyone. But I'm sure most people will just be happy to live a better life and be part of our kingdom. Sansa kissed him deeply. Let's not talk about that stuff anymore. She kissed him again. Thank you for giving me these powers. Another kiss. Thank you for saving me from Littlefinger and the Boltons. Another kiss. Thank you for appearing in my life. She pulled back and looked into his eyes. I love you, Jacob. Jacob smiled. I love you too, Sansa. Sansa smiled back. Are you still leaving today? Jacob nodded. Yes. Then, let's go back. I still haven't had enough of you. Before Jacob could say anything, she used her teleportation ability. They appeared back in the bedroom of the capsule house. Without a word, she took off her clothes. She took off his. She pushed him onto the bed, climbed on top of him, and soon her soft moans filled the room as they began another lovemaking session. Smirk throwing kisses, mouth kiss, mark sweat droplets, eggplant collision, wave, red heart, smile. A few hours later, they took a shower and dressed. By the time they stepped outside, the sun was nearing the horizon. Arya was sparring with Brienne while Podrick watched. Jacob fed the 3 lizard lions, then pulled a table, chairs, and a feast from his pocket dimension. Everyone, he called out, let's eat. Everyone sat down. Arya shoveled food into her mouth and asked, between bites, where have you two been all day? Sansa said, we were sparring. Arya raised an eyebrow. Then why didn't you take me with you? Jacob smirked. Because we were doing other things. Things kids like you shouldn't ask about. Arya looked at Sansa's flushed cheeks and smiled knowingly. Oh, I understand. Although I'm 14, I've seen and heard a lot of things on the road. I know more than you think. I used to pretend to be a boy because it was safer to travel that way. And let me tell you, men talk about a lot of nasty things. Sansa's face burned. Arya, shut up and eat your food. Arya grinned. Fine, fine. She focused on her plate. After lunch, Arya asked, so, should we head for Castle Black now? Jacob shook his head. No, I want to go home first. Arya frowned. When are you coming back? Tomorrow. Arya nodded. Okay, don't be late. Jacob smirked. Are you going to miss me? Arya didn't hesitate. She didn't overthink. She just said what she felt. Yes, life with you is fun. It feels like I'm back home, before everything bad happened. With you and Sansa, I feel like I have my family back. Jacob's smirk softened into a genuine smile. You are family to me too, Arya. Don't worry, I'll be back tomorrow at this time. Sansa hugged her sister tightly and said nothing. Jacob stood. All right, time for me to go. He rubbed Arya's head, then kissed Sansa. If anything happens, contact me. Sansa nodded. Come back soon. Jacob walked to the 3 lizard lions. Go gather a few females and come back here tomorrow. I'll take you to a better place to live. The 3 lizard lions stood on their hind legs, saluted him, then ran happily toward the swamps. Jacob sighed. All right, time to face the music. He looked back at Sansa, Arya, Brienne, and Podrick. See you tomorrow. Bye. Then he disappeared. Arya looked at Sansa. Are you nervous about meeting his other wives? Sansa pressed a hand to her stomach. Yes, very nervous. Arya shrugged. You'll be fine. You survived Joffrey and Cersei. A few wives should be easy. Sansa let out a small, nervous laugh. I hope you're right. Brienne stepped closer. Your Grace, if you wish, I can accompany you when you go to meet them. Sansa shook her head. No, this is something I need to do alone. Besides, even if I took you with me, what would you do? Protect me. You know they are very strong. Each one of them could snap you like a twig. They could probably kill you without even touching you. Brienne shook her head. No, I was just going to go with you for moral support. I'm not suicidal, Your Grace. Sansa sighed. Anyway, Jacob said they are very nice, and I trust him. She looked up at the sky, at the clouds, at the setting sun. Jacob's family, she thought. My new family. I hope they like me. If you like this story and want to support me, please go to patreon.com/ayubams926. 35 chapters ahead of web novel. To be continued.